Strike It Lucky, next Monday at 8 on Thames.
London's Burning and Crime Monthly, two of the programmes previewed in TV Weekly after the break.
Mr. Clark, the AXA Equity and Law pension plan you sent me looks like a really good investment. So get me 100 gallons of whipped cream, fill the bath with tequila, and don't forget the ghost, all right?
AXA Equity and Law. Need we say more?
OK, who didn't fill the petrol can? Simon?
At least we haven't run out of coffee.
Glorious country air.
Nah, coffee.
Nescafe.
That's what I said. Coffee at its best.
Marvellous.
Kathy,
Yes, Adam.
would you like me to take you away from all this?
Nescafe. Why shouldn't life be this good?
Buy any Persil automatic washing powder, and for every 10 washes, you can do an extra one free.
Marvellous.
Persil. Now with added value.
Top model Rachel Hunter has it. The clean, fresh, natural look of today. The CoverGirl look. Now, CoverGirl Cosmetics introduces new, remarkable lipstick. A distinctly new kind of color, so rich you can feel it. The result of a micro-concentrate formula for the richer look of more color to the color. Experience colors so rich you can feel it. New, remarkable lipstick. Clean, fresh, natural. That's the look of CoverGirl.
Rock Chunk, a bloke big enough to eat chocolate by the slab. Then Christmas came early.
Howdy, boys.
As Rock devoured a block, they pounced. An evil plot hatched. Give us your Yorkie and your get up, they roared.
Says who?
He barked, chewing heroically. The mob defeated. Rock bit hugely and exploded emotionally.
Whoa!
Yorkie, demolish it, chunk by chunk.
Next Wednesday at 7 on Thames. Someone's in for a big surprise.
Ken Dodd.
Oh,
tonight,
no.
This is your life.
Oh.
This is your life.
Oh, my life.
Phil Collins, actor, pop superstar. This is your life. Yeah! Oh, Sarah Brightman. This is your life. Trevor McDonald. This is your life.
The new series, next Wednesday at 7.
On Thames in half an hour from now, we go to Scotland to take the high road. That's right after this week's edition of Anne Diamond's TV Weekly.
Hello. Is it Marshmallow TV? Is Nicholas Witchell being strangled by his own tie? Your thoughts on breakfast television in a moment. Plus a look at the new Big Breakfast programme, the show with a semi-detached as a studio. Caught on police camera, we're on location with ITV's new crime-busting programme. And TV's hottest drama is back. Our guests today are from London's Burning. But first, a brand new programme aimed at grabbing the breakfast audience. And it begins next Monday, Channel 4's Big Breakfast Show. And rather cleverly, the producers have turned a London semi into a studio to give the show a real breakfast feel. This is the publicity packet for the Big Breakfast. And along with all the ingredients on the side, Paula Yates and Bob Geldof are involved. But the two main presenters are Chris Evans and Gabby Roslin, and they're about to give us an exclusive, lightning tour of the Big Breakfast house somewhere in East London.
Thank you very much, thank you very much. This is the Big Breakfast tea towel here, but you don't want to know about that because you want to know about the Big Breakfast itself. This is our house. This is the Big Breakfast house. And if you come inside our Big Breakfast front door, our lovely red front door here with our Big Breakfast clock, which is huge. Can you get that, John? You got that, yeah? Huge. That's our Big Breakfast clock. Come with me now through to our front room. It all comes from a real house. This is a real house, but we don't pretend it's real. We know it's for TV land, but it still is a real house. And this is my wonderful, wonderful TV wife, my Judy, yeah, and I'm her Richard. This is Gabby.
Hiya,
Okay,
hiya.
I'm going to go upstairs.
All right, I'll show you around downstairs. Come back here and have a look downstairs. In here, it's
nice comfy area. We're going to be sitting down, having chats, talking to people, setting competitions, everything from in this room in here. And if I take you into the big breakfast kitchen, well, I think you could certainly not feel tired in here. This is where the family of the week will be settling down and we'll be having a chat to them. Also, just show you a sneaky over here. If you look through this glass, you can see what's going on. That usually goes on in the big breakfast house. Right, let's go through this door and we'll take you up to Chris. Are you with me?
What?
Everybody there? Chris!
Hey, 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 hey!
Take it away, Chris.
Come upstairs, because we have a reel upstairs to our reel downstairs. Thank you, Gabby. I'll meet you in the boudoir. Gabby! I'll meet you in the boudoir. That way, go that way. I'll meet you there.
Right.
This is upstairs. This is where we play our game every morning, called Guess the Mess, where we have a mess and you have to guess the name of the film title from the mess. And if you get it right, you can win CDs and stuff. And the other big competition we've got is called Whose Washing Line Is It Anyway, which is part of the crunch, which comes from the bathroom, which I'll show you in a minute. But you win a big breakfast TV. Woo, woo. See, louder, come on, we're on ITV now. Okay, and even you can win one of these in the first 8 weeks. Every day, one of these given away for the first 8 weeks. I talked to you about the crunch earlier on. This is where the crunch comes from the big breakfast bathroom. And the people that actually live here at the moment, oh, hang on a minute, sorry. That's better. Are Zig and Zag, who you haven't seen yet because they're still at the planet Zog, which is where they come from. But they do the crunch with me here every morning on the big breakfast. Now, come on, John. Are you tired out yet, John? Are you happy? Yeah. Speak to me, speak to me. Okay, this is the big breakfast spare bedroom, which we actually don't use for anything. But this is still TV land. But in here, through here, the most important door in the house, because this is where TV land finishes. You see? TV land, not TV land, you see? Over, finished. But let's go through here to this special part, the poshest part, the most glamorous part of the whole place, and it's Paula's boudoir. Paula's a bit busy at the moment outside with the press, but in here now is Gabby again, you see?
Actually, this is quite something. I'm not usually here every single morning, but it's nice to be in this glamorous bed. OK, you can join us every single morning, live here on Channel 4 at 7 o'clock.
Yes, where we'll be snogging.
None of that.
Oh, all right then.
Not in here anyway.
Okay. Yes, we'll be here. Paula will be here. Oh, my God. The dirt will be here. I'm in big trouble for that. Yeah, it's 7 till 9 every morning, Anne. And we watch you, so why don't you watch us? Thank you and goodbye.
Bye.
I will be watching. I want to win one of those pink televisions. I'd quite like to win the bathroom as well, and I particularly like the Friday wallpaper. That could start a national trend. There was a terrific response from our viewers panel, the TV Weekly 100, for our survey on breakfast television. We've read all the letters and pulled out all the trends and the overall picture. So, you television executives, take note, because this is your audience speaking. First of all, on the subject of news. On balance, the laurels go to the BBC. Clear, straightforward, that's how the majority like their news in the morning. I just want to know if the real world has survived the night, and whether it's worth joining in again, says one of our panel. Know the feeling. But the constant repetition of news is an irritation on all channels. Many just want main news on the hour. Is it necessary to have news bulletins every half hour? They destroy continuity and deflect one's interest, says Margaret Thorne of London. Francis Taylor of Wolverhampton agrees. All it does is create frustration and tension, not a good start to the day. A number of people wanted a better service for the deaf, like Channel 4's 9 o'clock news. The other ingredients? There's something of a trend against features on emotional and personal topics at this busy, rushed time of day. These items are too drawn out and would be best left until later in the day. No one wants to wake up to a lecture unless it's good, solid, proven advice. Scare stories aren't the way to start the day. And agony aunts should be left to the printed media. Claire, contraceptives and cornflakes do not make the ideal mix to start the day. And celebrities. Well, our panel thought they were welcome on the box, except when they're plugging something. So what gets the thumbs up? The doc spot, paper review, film and video reviews, Lorraine Kelly, that's a TVAM fan talking, dynamic news reports, presenters who speak clearly, good weather and traffic reports, interviews with people who have something sensible to say. But what should be added? The most popular suggestions were a job spot, DIY tips, car spot, crime desk. A consumer spot would be welcome, presented calmly and not in the hysterical knives are sharp and can cut you manner. Best fresh food buys of the week, a pick of the day TV spot, a gardening calendar spot, regional news and weather on ITV. But most people agreed on one thing. Presenters are the most important thing about breakfast television. But there were some interesting complaints, like, I feel very tense watching Nicholas Witchell being strangled by his own tie, and on TVAM, I often feel I'm sitting listening to Sharon and Tracy on their way to work. Overall, people want to see the best elements of each channel combined in a new show. BBC's top news coverage, Channel 4's variety of topics, and TVAM's friendly light approach. Let's ask a television executive what he thinks. Greg Dyke is the chief executive of London Weekend Television, but in a previous incarnation, he created the format that saved TVAM, and he has some involvement in the company that's taking over from them, GMTV. Hello, Greg.
Hi, Annie.
What makes a good breakfast television programme, then?
Lots of things, but one of the most important things is the unexpected. There's got to be something on there that you look at and you think, hey, isn't that interesting? I didn't know that. Wasn't that exciting? That makes you go to work and say, hey, did you see that on breakfast television this morning?
An awful lot of people have said to us they want to tune in to make sure that the world is all right the next day, but they don't want the news repeated so often. It was always something you worried about, wasn't it?
Well, there's a great danger in television that news people believe that all everybody wants to watch is news. And it's not true. And actually, I've had quite a lot of complaints, particularly from old-age pensioners here, saying that as we put more news on during the day, it's repetitive. They see too much of it. But of course, the trouble with breakfast is people are coming in and out all the time. And some people watch it for an hour, and some people watch it for 5 minutes. And those that want you to watch it for 5 minutes also want to get some idea of what's happening in the news.
It seems an awful lot of people watch it for about an hour. What about the view as well? Sorry, you're obviously going to add something, but let me just move on to agony aunts. Should be left to the printed media, several people thought. You know, anything that's too emotional, too personal, should be left till later in the day to cope with.
Well, I don't think that was our experience some years back, Annie. I mean, I think that people are interested in human stories and human relationships. And I think agony aunts, if it's done well, I think it's quite attractive to the audience, so I'm not sure I believe them.
What about the thought that an awful lot of people seem to be resenting the fact that celebrities come on just to plug things?
Well, I think it's always a problem, isn't it, that celebrities are around. What your aim is to get them on without mentioning the book, the film, or anything else. Your aim is to get them on and get them to talk about themselves, but they're only coming there to do that. Therefore, you've got it's a balance. Sometimes, I mean, you can't help feeling that you see people going on television almost to sort of, you know, what's the book? What do you like to say? That's it, thank you very much. And it's about the amount of research that is done into the person coming on to arm the presenter with.
So if your advice were to boil down to just sort of one sentence, what would you be saying to the people at GMTV now? I'm sure you are saying it. Or to Big Breakfast, or to any of the others?
Have good ideas. Have good ideas. I mean, I remember, you probably remember the one day we had Pele, George Best and Jimmy Greaves on the couch together.
I remember it well.
Now, that's a good idea. Another day, you remember when Diana Dawes was losing weight and we pulled onto the set and the amount of weight she'd lost in lard. It's a good idea. I mean, some of them are pretty crude ideas, but it's about good ideas. It's something that's different, something that's surprising, as opposed to just churning on day after day after day. Have good ideas.
Oh, Greg, thanks very much. I remember Bingo being one of yours.
No, I don't think Bingo was one of the better ones, though, Annie.
Greg Dyke, thanks very much.
Is that all right? Thanks.
And thanks to the panel, too, for a wonderful response. And next week, we'll have a new task for you. TV's favourite firefighters are back in action next Sunday with a new series of London's Burning. The famous Blue Watch first blazed a trail back in 1986 in a one-off TV film. 4 series and numerous fires have been successfully tackled since then, and an audience of nearly 19 million make it one of Britain's highest-rated non-soap dramas. And I've got 2 stalwart members of Blue Watch, minus their uniforms, with me now. Firefighters Stevens and Hallam, otherwise known as Samantha Beckinsale and Sean Blowers. Hello.
Hi.
Also employees of Greg Dykes.
We are indeed,
got to watch
yes.
what we say
Quite nice to see the old boy there. Hello, Greg.
So you're not allowed to plug any books, or
certainly not.
You're here really to plug the new series,
We are.
but we're welcoming the fact that you do, because it starts soon. Although amazingly, you finished filming it yonks ago. Is that right?
Yeah, we finished in May. We have to film during the winter in order to make the fires look better. So we start a new series, filming the next series in November, whilst this series is still on.
So you've just finished this series and you're just about to start the next in November. Why does it make the fires look better in the winter?
Because at night the nights are darker in the
more
winter,
spectacular.
and it does look much more spectacular. Yes.
Yeah. And we've got more time to do it as well.
How much contact, other than them being there to put the fires out if they really get out of control, do you really have with the fire brigade?
Lots.
Lots and lots.
And
all
lots.
the time. Ceaseless. They never stop. I mean, apart from the involvement with the show, they're the world's best charity organisers, so we find ourselves every weekend being asked to go and do things for them.
But what about actually learning the nitty-gritty of the job? Don't you have to go for refresher courses every so often?
Yeah, when you first start the series, any new bod on the series goes for a couple of weeks training at Southwark Training Centre, and you're put in with your squad. And
are you treated the same as them?
Yes, oh yeah.
So it's hard?
Yes.
Yeah, well, it was different for me. I was in at the beginning, and I trained with the other actors.
I was
Sammy
on my
came
own.
on,
on your own?
she was on her own.
They made you crawl through some horrible tunnel or something?
Yeah, it's this concrete sewer pipe that you have to go through in a certain way, or you get stuck. And I got stuck because I didn't listen to what he said.
They call it the rat run.
No, that's not the rat run.
Oh, isn't it?
No,
Well,
the
else.
rat run is something else.
Sounds even worse.
That's even worse.
Shall we see you both in action?
Yeah.
We've got a little clip here from the new series. You can't see Samantha, she's behind her breathing apparatus, but you can see Sean.
I've got a gas main. Here, come on now. Come on, wake up. Wake up. Don't worry, love. It's only the fire brigade. Couple more steps, Kate. What do you think you're playing at? We were nearly one short for the basketball then.
Knowing little smile at the end there. Sean, your character, we left him in tears at the end of the last series.
That's right, yeah.
What's going to happen to him this series?
Well, it deals basically with post-traumatic stress. And I think they originally picked my character because he was one of the stronger kind of macho type
where you
characters.
wouldn't think it.
And it wouldn't normally get to him in a situation like that. The fact that he goes through that is being highlighted in the new series where he has counselling to overcome that sort of thing. And I think that's something the Fire Brigade are very keen on showing through the programme.
Well, the big, strong men can take counselling.
Well,
should
basically
take
that
counselling.
anybody can take counselling because those guys have to deal with all kinds of incidents where there is a tendency to brush them off. But if they don't, then it's all locked in there and it needs to be dealt with, really.
And Samantha, you must be very proud in a way because everybody's very sure that your character in it has sort of had an effect on recruiting women into the brigade.
Well, I certainly hope so. I think in general it's opened up the brigade to everybody. People do realise that it is a job that maybe they could do. And I would say to anybody that's thinking about it, go along and let them decide whether you can actually do it or not.
Once through the rat run probably proves the point.
Well, it's mainly attitude, I think, is actually which they believe in. It's teamwork and attitude. So you may not think you can do it, but they might think you can.
Let's talk again about it later. Time now to catch our break. After the break, the new show that's ITV's answer to Crime Watch.
New Cream Silk 2-in-1 shampoo, conditioner and now Pro-Vitamin B5, absorbed by every strand of hair, making it stronger and fitter from the inside.
And relax.
You don't have to work at it to get healthy-looking hair. Cream Silk 2-in-1, the daily workout for your hair.
The FA Premier League. Live, only on Sky. For information on how to view Sky Sports, contact your satellite dealer or cable operator.
Oh, yes!
Sky Sports. It's a whole new ball game.
Who would you say is the most difficult to wash for in your family?
This one, definitely.
This little angel. She crawls around on the garden on her hands and knees and plays dog with the little boy next door and gets grass stains and soil stains and everything all over her. But I find with Daz Ultra they come up really white. I think Daz Ultra for the price is very, very good value.
OK, will you swap these two enormous packets for your little one?
No.
I'll put this back on the shelf.
No, I don't want to.
No, I'm going to put it back on the shelf. That's what we find. Daz Ultra users won't swap.
Top model Rachel Hunter has it. The clean, fresh, natural look of today. The CoverGirl look. Now, CoverGirl Cosmetics introduces new, remarkable lipstick. A distinctly new kind of colour, so rich you can feel it. The result of a micro-concentrate formula for the richer look of more colour to the colour. Experience colours so rich you can feel it. New, remarkable lipstick. Clean, fresh, natural. That's the look of CoverGirl.
Now, Crime Time television. It looks as though Friday night is going to be known as Crime Night on ITV. Series of Michael Winner's true crimes and crime stories, both of which reconstruct fascinating police investigations, have just begun. And another show that uses real police videos is about to start, a network showing after running in the London region. It's called Crime Monthly. The presenter is Paul Ross, brother of Jonathan, the Ross family dynasty. And it just so happens that another Ross, sister-in-law Amanda, is also a TV presenter. Here she is in the middle there. Oh, no, she's there in the children's show Follow Your Nose. Who better than we thought to report on Crime Monthly and watch out for some remarkable police videos.
Tomorrow night at 9 o'clock on ITV sees the start of a new network crime-fighting series, Crime Monthly. This show's already been gripping audiences in London and the South East for the last 3 years. It's in direct competition to the BBC's Crime Watch UK, but those of you who've already seen Crime Monthly will know that it has little in common with that show, except perhaps the surname of its presenter. Crime Watch UK's Nick Ross is absolutely no relation at all to Crime Monthly's Paul Ross, but I am. I'm his sister-in-law, which is why they've sent me to investigate the show.
We'll go again in a minute, just need the traffic stop.
Each show features reconstructions of real crimes. The police are very closely involved to make sure that the reconstructions are as accurate as possible.
Generally speaking, we've found them to be very good indeed. Obviously, there may be 1 or 2 points of detail that we're not always entirely happy with, but nevertheless, I think the programme does go out of its way to try and make sure it has all the essential details as accurate as possible.
The reconstructions are shot like a drama, but the director has to stick to the facts. Locations and actors are chosen for their likeness to the real case.
After the gunman?
No, the gunman come out after her. It all happened so quickly.
Excuse me, what are you doing here? He's my next-door neighbour.
I'm acting in the reconstruction.
You're not playing a villain, are you?
No, I'm one of the policemen.
Well, that's a relief anyway.
We're in very close contact with the press officers and with the local police forces, and we basically have a long-running discussion with them about what would most likely yield a result.
Yeah, Bilska 729, we're chasing a motor vehicle. Stand by, hit that.
Some of the police footage you've used, for example, the traffic chases last month, have been pretty amazing. Were you surprised at the level of cooperation the police gave you?
Not really. I think that footage is amazing because it's only come about quite recently. There isn't a history of seeing that kind of footage. They've only fitted videos in cars for like the past year or 18 months. And I think there's actually a lot more footage out there to come. The police are quite happy where they think they're doing a good job. They're quite happy to let viewers see what they're getting for their money.
He's crashed at junction 23.
Paul, you've been presenting Crime Monthly for 3 years now. Has it changed your life at all?
It has. I now actually get recognised, but only by a policeman. And I'm often out walking on Saturday afternoon, and the kind of siren goes on, and the car screeches over, and it's 2 coppers leaning out asking for me autographs.
Well, you've become a bit of an expert on crime. How did this come about?
Well, as a local paper reporter, I was always aware that the best stories do come from crime and the police.
Yeah.
And I gradually got more and more interested in the detection side of it. And I now collect true crime magazines, true crime books.
Well, you've got about 1,000 magazines now, haven't you?
I have, yeah. I've got some dating back to the late 40s. I've got over 1,000 crime magazines and also nearly 400 true crime books.
Well, it's nice to know you take your work so seriously.
Yes, it makes me sound like Hannibal Lecter or somebody, doesn't it?
I know it's not meant to be funny, but some of the crimes have been fairly entertaining. One that sticks in my mind is the oil of Ulay man who stole vast quantities of oil of Ulay and nothing else.
So police were looking for a man with very dry skin on that one.
Is there anything in particular that sticks in your mind?
Well, you're right, it shouldn't be funny, but actually what you realise from doing the show is that most criminals are dull, stupid people, thankfully. And one I particularly liked was some Herbert who went in with a handgun to turn over a building society. The emergency shutters came up, he dropped the gun in panic and then tried to run out and couldn't open the door, so he was bouncing against it and bouncing against it. This goes on for about 5 minutes until he realises that it's open, he's only got to pull it towards him.
Oh, goodness.
Master criminals, you see.
Have you had any criticism that the show's too scary?
That is always something we're very aware of, that, of course, if you show crime non-stop for an hour, that people are going to think we're living in an incredibly violent and frightening society. And we do think it's important that people realise at the end of the programme that criminals don't win, 95% of them get caught, and by and large we do live in a safe and non-violent society.
Just shows that sometimes there's nothing more unusual than real life. Incredible stuff. Crime Monthly begins tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. Our competition now, and last week we asked what the biggest cash prize is in Michael Barrymore's game show Strike It Lucky. The answer, after you dodge all those hotspots, is £3,000, and the first correct answer out of our mailbag was Henry McIntyre from Bramley in Surrey. Yes, Bramley in Surrey, who wins the 4-inch colour TV. And the 3 runners-up, who each win a set of the new Sergeant Bilko videos, are N. Knight from Poole, A. Leese from Hull, and P. Barfoot from Southampton. This week's question concerns London's burning, so I'm going to let Samantha do the honours. Are you ready?
I am.
Please ask the question.
Okay. What is the name of the fire station where Blue Watch work?
Right, and the address for your entries is Competition, TV Weekly, PO Box 184, Southampton S097NN. Answers to reach us by Tuesday next, on postcards only, please. And there'll be another mini TV for the winner and 3 runners-up prizes of the new London's Burning book. And that's it, that's the plug over. Thank you.
We're not plugging that book.
Yeah. Samantha, when you were offered the part, you thought you were going to be a corpse, is that right?
Yes, or a girlfriend or something along those lines. It wasn't until I actually got there that Corinne said to me, do you think you could play a firefighter? And I said, yeah.
Why not?
Why not? So no, yeah, that's how it happened.
And like I said, I think it's something to be really proud of, that it's had such a good effect on recruitment. And Sean, I gather that, you know, when people are hanging around with not very much to do, which I know isn't often, they wind you up. Or usually you wind them up, but they had their own back, didn't they?
They certainly did, yeah. I've got a bit of a reputation, I'm not going to go into it, but I've got a bit of a reputation as a joker purely through, as you say, when you're hanging around, you've got to find something to do to keep yourself sane.
Yeah.
And one time they all conspired to write me out of the series.
How?
Well, it's a very long story, which I won't go into, but I'll just...
You've got about a minute.
The last section of the episode that was concerned was a firefighter dies.
Yes.
And the rest of them dived in to save him. Yeah. We weren't given the last section of that episode because they wanted it to be hush-hush. It was all handed out in brown envelopes. They'd all got together, sabotaged my brown envelope, very subtly written a storyline. And I went away thinking, this is unbelievable. They've written me out of the series, and the producer hasn't even...
It was you that was dying in the...
No, somebody else died, but I dived in to save him.
So you were believing that you were the character
So I believe that,
you know,
all they had in the script was that this member of the fire brigade walks up the path to my wife's house, knocks on the door, she opens the door, horrified face, which to me meant I'm out of the series.
That's right. Must be a horrible feeling, that, because that's how some people learn about being written out.
Well, they do, yeah, especially these days. Yeah.
But he got it in the end. He realised what was up in the end.
Eventually.
They let me go all the way to Pinewood Studios for an interview before they left. They phoned me up there. So I drove all the way out of London to Pinewood, thinking, this is a wind-up. It must be a wind-up. They can't possibly write me out.
Yeah. That's not too important. Yeah. You'd already told the bank manager. Yeah. Anyway, look, have a wonderful time filming the next series. It's great to know that, you know, you've already got that going while we're watching the last.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes, yes, we'll be back in it again, amongst all the mess.
I'm glad to know that. Anyway, have great fun. And we'll have great fun watching it from next week. Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah,
Sunday.
Next Sunday, 9 o'clock?
I think so.
Oh, somewhere along there.
Yeah. Thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you.
And I'll see you again next week. Meanwhile, have a smashing week. Bye-bye.
Next Monday at 9 on Thames, the Squaddies are in for a shock.
Oi! You all right? What's it look like?
It's true what they say about Hong Kong nightlife, Major.
Small compensation for manning the last outpost of Empire.
Will you marry me?
Oh, here.
No, at the salad bar.
Fall in for Soldier Soldier next Monday at 9 on Thames.
There are important things to discuss in Take the High Road, which is next this afternoon on Thames.
Top model Rachel Hunter has it. The clean, fresh, natural look of today. The CoverGirl look. Now, CoverGirl Cosmetics introduces new, remarkable lipstick. A distinctly new kind of color, so rich you can feel it. The result of a micro-concentrate formula for the richer look of more color to the color. Experience colors so rich you can feel it. New, remarkable lipstick. Clean, fresh, natural. That's the look of CoverGirl.
New Valensina. Unlike other oranges, the Valencia late orange stays an extra month on the tree, soaking up more sun to give new Valensina its natural sunshine taste.
Put more sunshine taste in your day. The Valensina way.
More sunshine, Valensina taste.
Take the leanest beef to make a delicious low-fat lasagna. Bird's Eye Healthy Options, the best food made better for you.
Pop-tabulous tomorrow. Pop Pickers will be looking back at 25 years of Radio 1 with surprise guests, and we'll have a special confessions phone-in.
Yes, you can call Simon Mayo to beg forgiveness for your darkest, deepest secrets. Plus Harrison Ford on his new film and a behind-the-scenes look at tonight's Royal Film premiere. That's this morning, tomorrow, 10:40.
At 3:20 this afternoon here on Thames, The Young Doctors. Now, Take the High Road.
Dad, I told you not to say